All right, fifth graders, well, we are continuing along here in chapter 5, multiplying decimals. Today, specifically, lesson 5.5. And our focus is going to be on decimals by decimals. Now there's going to be decimals in both numbers. And that rule that we keep harping on in chapter 5 becomes even more relevant and more important to remember now. This idea that how many ever digits come after the decimal in the problem, that is how many digits come after the decimal in the product. So I'm going to say that again. How many ever digits come after the decimal in the problem, that is how many digits come after the decimal in the product. So 0.4 times 0.6, okay? We just think 4 times 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Give a little space there to that problem. But I have to think there's one number, two numbers that come after a decimal in the problem. So I have to have one number, two numbers that come after the decimal in the product. It's not just there's one here and there's one here, so I put one here. This counts as one, this counts as two after a decimal, so I need 1, 2 after a decimal in the product. 1/10 times 8/10. Well, I know that 1 times 8 is 8. The 1 and the 8 both come after a decimal. So that is 2 digits after the decimal in the problem. So I need 1, 2 digits after the decimal in the product. The 8 only gives me 1. How do I solve that? By putting a 0 in front of there. And then I put my decimal there. So I have one number, two numbers that come after the decimal in the problem. I have one number, two numbers that come after the decimal in the product. 800ths. 5/10 times 3/10. Well, I'm going to think 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay? But there's one number, two numbers that come after the decimal in the problem. So I need 1, 2 numbers to come after the decimal in the product. 1500ths. Moving right along. 1 7/10 times 6/10. Okay? When we start to do longer decimal multiplication, we do not have to have the decimals lined up. All we have to do is remember the rule. How many ever digits come after the decimal in the problem, that's how many digits need to come after the decimal in the product. Depending on the numbers and what they are, the decimals may be lined up, but they don't have to be. I'm going to multiply this the same way I would do 17 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42. Put the 2 down, carry the 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. The 7 comes after a decimal. The 6 comes after a decimal. That's 2 digits after the decimal in the problem. So I need 1, 2 digits to come after the decimal in the product. 1 and 200ths. Last one we're going to look at today, and here's an example of what I was just referring to. The decimals do not have to be lined up. I'm going to multiply this the same way I would multiply 324 times 8. But in the end, I'm going to remember my decimal rule. How many ever digits come after the decimal in the problem, that's how many digits need to come after the decimal in my product or in my answer. So I'm going to think here 8 times 4. Well, 8 times 4 is 32. I put the 2 down, carry the 3. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus the 3, 19. I put the 9 down, carry the 1. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 1, 25. I have 1, 2, 3 digits that come after a decimal in the problem. So I need 1, 2, 3 digits to come after the decimal in my answer in my product. 2 and 592 thousandths. That's all we have for today. I think you're going to be able to handle it, 5th grade. Talk to you later. Bye.